So do you believe that President Trump is honest?
He is the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, and
not
not only is he keeping this country safe, he is keeping this world safe.
It's a simple question,
which you didn't answer. He is the Commander-in-Chief.
Last June, Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman, her husband Mark, and their dog were brutally murdered in their home.
Does honesty still matter at the highest levels of government? That question sparked a heated confrontation as Representative Friedman challenged Attorney General Pam Bondi over President Trump's statements and the Justice Department's handling of domestic extremism data.
The good gentleman yields back. We turn to the good lady from California, Congresswoman Kamlager-Dove.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Attorney General, for being here today. I want to talk with you about an issue on which there is broad bipartisan agreement: the importance of ensuring trust between the American public and those government officials who wield powerful law enforcement responsibilities. So, Attorney General, would you agree that it is important for law enforcement leaders to be honest?
Of course, as well as members of Congress.
Thank you. And would you include yourself as a law enforcement leader?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You know, President Trump has also, he has referred to himself as the chief law enforcement officer of this country. So do you believe that President Trump is honest?
He is the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, and not only is he keeping this country safe, he is keeping this world safe.
It's a simple question, which you didn't answer.
He is the Commander-in-Chief.
Last June, Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman, her husband Mark, and their dog were brutally murdered in their home. And your USA's office in Minnesota investigated this crime and obtained a 6-count indictment of the murder suspect, stating that he had intent to kill, injure, harass, and intimidate Minnesota legislators. And I have the copy right here. I read through it. Yet a few weeks ago, President Trump suggested publicly that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was behind these murders, posting on his Truth Social account a video raising this conspiracy theory. And it wasn't true. And you know it wasn't true, or else you would not have brought an indictment against the subject. Do you know what else Trump has said? He has said he has cut gas prices by 1,400%. False. That he won the 2020 election.
Actually, gas is down to $1.99 a gallon, thanks to President Trump.
That he didn't know Epstein.
Maybe $5 in California.
It's my time, Mr. Chair. That he sent water to LA during the wildfires. False. That Governor Westmore of Maryland called him the greatest president of his lifetime. False. So many tales, too many to keep up. But I want to go back to what he said about Tim Walz. Do you agree that President Trump undermined public trust in law enforcement by suggesting that Governor Walz was involved in the Hortman murders?
I am not familiar with that statement.
Well, that is a disappointing response, and it is also why your office and Donald Trump have zero credibility, because I know, and you know, it was a right-wing extremist who murdered the Hortmans, and you and the president are being dishonest with the American people. Last fall, after the horrific shooting of Charlie Kirk, President Trump was asked if there were extremists on both the left and the right. And his exact words were, "I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy." Do you agree with this statement? You're taking too long, Madam Attorney General. But you know the answer, because your own department has addressed the question. In 24, the DOJ's research arm issued a report on domestic terrorism, stating that the far number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violence extremists. The DOJ published the report, and after the president made those comments, the DOJ took the report down. And I sent you a letter asking you a simple question. Why did the Justice Department remove the data that shows right-wing extremists have killed more innocent people than left-wing extremists?
Did you refer to immigration enforcement as domestic terrorism?
You should answer my question.
Yes.
You're on my time, but you won't. And what I am asking you to do is put the report back. Restore the data. Stop scrubbing important data from your website. Stop taking down reports that you know the American people need to know about. There are violent, dangerous people out here with real threats, and the dishonesty from your agency comes from the covering up of these threats that could hurt American people and put our lives at risk. Do better. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Yields back.
This exchange focused on public trust in law enforcement, presidential statements, and the Justice Department's handling of information about domestic extremism. Representative Laura Friedman questioned Attorney General Pam Bondi about whether law enforcement leaders have a duty to be truthful before challenging her defense of President Trump. She cited the Justice Department's indictment in the Minnesota lawmaker murders and argued that the department's findings conflicted with claims the president had publicly shared. The discussion then shifted to domestic extremism. Friedman criticized the Justice Department for removing a previously published report on domestic terrorism trends, arguing that the public deserves access to information about violent threats. Bondi attempted to respond, but Friedman used the remainder of her time to call for the report to be restored and for greater transparency. The hearing reflected a broader debate over public trust, government transparency, and how federal agencies communicate information about violent extremism. What do you think? Should the Justice Department restore previously published reports and data, or are there valid reasons to remove or update them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more congressional hearings, political debates, and breaking news from Washington. United States Bell.